If you want to see amazing and exciting duels, informative and entertaining top 10 lists, and everything else that's just great about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you gotta watch the Capital G Show. Shout outs to my homeboy Dante. Ayy. What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So we're talking about top decking in this video. After all, top deck wars are some of the most exciting and exhilarating parts of the game, with the line between glorious victory and the agony of defeat potentially being the next card drawn. Well, considering this happens all too often, I've decided to compile a list of some of the strongest and most game-changing cards that you're going to want to see next time you find yourself in one. Now, for clarity's sake, and to ensure that we have a list with some recent relevance, I've decided to only consider cards that have been legal at one point or another within the last 5 years. So unfortunately, this does eliminate cards like Rescue Cap, Pot of Greed, and Brain Control. But without further ado, this is the top 10 best and Sackiest top deck cards, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Hierarchy. Number 10, Rescue Rabbit. I may not be able to include the most dangerous kitty in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, but I'm certainly going to include its distant cousin. Upon release, Rescue Rabbit picked up immediately where Rescue Cat's legacy ended, becoming not only a one-card boss monster maker, but it was probably the primary reason why Dino Rabbit saw most of its YCS winning success. Number 9, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy to the Beginning. Easily one of the most controversial and player-contested unbannings that Konami has ever done, BLS has remained relevant not just because of its obvious power, but because it makes great use of the two most powerful attributes in the game today. The card is also incredibly splashable, which makes it a terror that has transcended through multiple formats and through multiple tier 1 decks, such as Chaos Dragons and Shadows. Number 8, Cleaford Scout, possibly the most powerful pendulum monster today. Cleaford Scout not only searches an entire archetype, but it does effectively and efficiently with nearly every pendulum deck desires. It gives the players the ability to complete their scale with just one card, meaning that the deck's comeback potential is extremely high if they've lost their skills or their monsters earlier in the game. Number 7, Rank Up the 7th one, probably one of the lesser known game-breaking cards. Rank Up the 7th one is almost the definition of a lucky draw, as the card is almost useless if drawn in your opening hand or during your opponent's turn. However, it becomes one of the most powerful cards in the game if drawn during the draw phase. Rank Up the 7th one allows players to summon monsters that are almost impossible to summon otherwise, and a lot of these monsters can single-handedly win the game. Number 6, RAIGEKI. Unlike cards such as Magician of Faith and Tsukiyumi, RAIGEKI made an immediate impact upon its unbanning. RAIGEKI is also one of the only cards on this list that can be played offensively and defensively, ensuring, at least in a worst-case scenario, that you can clear your opponent's monsters out so that you can live a little longer. Number 5, Elemental Hero Bubble Man. Having without a doubt one of the strictest conditions to meet its maximum potential, the end result can be absolutely devastating for your opponent, as you go from one monster to 3 cards instantly without even having to commit your normal summon. It's one of the most situational cards on this list, I'll admit, but it's also one of the most unique. Number 4, Judgment Dragon. Often considered to be the best boss monster of all time, Judgment Dragon is subsequently one of the best top decks of all time. He has just about everything that you could ask for in a boss monster. Incredibly good stats, the ability to blow up the board multiple times during a turn, and even more absurd, he can actually make you more advantaged during the end phase by his ability to mill cards. Number 3, Tour Guide from the Underworld. In my opinion, the card that was most responsible for the success of the Xyz era. Tour Guide gave every deck the ability to instantly summon powerful Xyz monsters without having to actually alter their decks, well, pretty much at all. Furthermore, as the rank 3 card pool increased, so did the power of Tour Guide, which led to her inevitable limitation, as she had served through many formats as a staple card for the best deck. Number 2, Soul Charge, another highly powerful card, but this one had a far larger impact than the likes of other cards on this list, such as Blackluster Soldier. Soul Charge at its best didn't just change duels, it shaped and changed entire formats. It made decent decks good, it made good decks great. It was absolutely absurd, the power of this card. At the time of release, it was arguably the most powerful card in the game, and I'd say that even to this day, it continues to be one of the best comeback cards in the game. Honorable mentions include Pot of Avarice, Preparation of Rites, and Snatch Steal, and finally to our number 1.
And his name is John C.
Alright, that's enough of that. Our real number one is Infernity Archfiend. I decided to give Archfiend a top spot on this list because of the raw potential of the card. A well-timed Archfiend top deck means that the sky is literally the limit. I've seen players rack up +5s and +6s do subsequent plays and subsequent searches involving Archfiend. Archfiend also landed the top spot not just because of the raw advantage that the card makes, but it's one of the only cards on this list where you actually get to get defensive options. You can get things like Infernity Break and Infernity Barrier, meaning that not only do you get incredible offense, but you also get the potential of having an uncrackable board. So that is definitely why this card earned the top spot. So do you agree with my list? What other amazing and crazy Saki cards do you like to draw on Top Deck Wars? Leave that in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Subscribing makes life happy.